I've been here since 10 o'clock waiting for you. Happy New Year anyway. I love you. You know that. Welcome to another edition of the Ken Simmons Show. Ken Simmons, that's me. You know something? I want to wish you a Happy New Year. I'm going to take this opportunity to wish you a Happy New Year before we sit down with my guest. And I've got a great guest. All my guests are great. You know, 2021 has been a tough year, and I don't want to go over that with a lot of devastation and sadness, but it's been a tough year. If we got through that, we can get through anything. 2022, I have a prediction for you. 2022 is going to be a better year, starting early in January. Well, the last of January, we're going to see this COVID thing taper off, I think, because of everybody getting vaccinations and everybody doing their best. You know, if we all cooperate with one another and we all say a little prayer once in a while, I think we're going to get through this fine. And I think the inflation thing is going to taper off. I think the price of gasoline is going to come down. I think labor, we're going to have, we've got a shortage of labor, which could be a good thing, but in this case it's not. You know, people going to the hospital with the people, the nurses, the doctors, the people that work there that take care of us, when they get sick, what happens to us? Think about that for a while. These people that didn't get vaccinated, that's their right. If they don't want to get back, that's their right. But the rest of us have to sweat it out a little bit. You know something? I'm gonna mention a couple of things about 2021. It was a sad year with the devastation in Kentucky, the tornadoes, the fires in California, the fires in Colorado, which I think are still going on. Jerry Remy died. Jerry Remy is a great ball player, a great broadcaster, and a great guy. And I say that without even knowing him, except following him as a baseball fan and as a broadcaster. I thought he was great. And then Betty White died. An animal lover, a people lover, a great, great lady. So when you say your prayers at night, include her and Jerry Remy, will you? They're great people. All right, before we go and meet my guest, before we end this, I got to tell you this little story. Whether it's true or not, that's for you to decide. I was at Shaw's, the fish market, had my mask on. I wear my mask to bed. I'm going to take it off now for you, though. A lady, an elderly lady, came up to me as I'm looking at the cod loins and the catfish, trying to make up my mind. At this age, that's not easy. And I caught her staring at me, and I looked. She's a little lady. She had snow white hair, beautiful hair. And she turned to look at me, and she had the most beautiful powder blue eyes. I would say the lady was in her 70s. Doesn't make any difference. She was gorgeous. And she said to me, "I see you on my TV." I said, "I'm sorry. I don't even know where you live. How can I be on your TV?" She said, "You were doing a show." I said, "I have done a few shows on TV, yes." Well, I just want to say to you that now, having seen you, you're much better looking in person than you are on television. Oh, I was flabbergasted. I said, "Oh my God, thank you so very much. That's so nice of you to say that. That's so very nice. Do you realize what that means? That's so nice." She said, "Of course, the mask helps a lot." Okay, that's it. Let's go meet my guest. Take off your shoes, pour yourself your favorite beverage. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I want you to meet my guest. I'm so proud to have him as a guest. I'm proud to have any of you that want to come on my show as a guest, because it's a little nerve-wracking. It's you're giving up your time for me. So anytime you want to come on, just call 508-866-1019. I'll be glad to talk to you. My guest today, he needs no introduction. The guy is a great guy. And you know how I feel about public safety. God knows I've said enough times about the fire departments and the police departments of the world and the EMSs of the world. People who put on a uniform, people who get up every day to protect us. Some give their lives to protect us. They don't get rich. What makes them do it? I don't know. Thank God they do, though. Please meet my guest, Mark Dufali, Chief of Police, the town of Carver. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Ken. Thanks
Chief.
for having me on. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, too long.
Yes.
Let's
Good to
not
see you
make,
again.
Yeah, let's make it another 6 months. But, by the way, before we go any further, on our next show together, which will probably be in the summertime, if you'd like to ask the chief a question, we don't have the telephone set up here, but we do have email. You can email us. Would you put the email on the bottom of the...
You got it.
We'll put on the bottom of the screen, you'll see our email address. You want to ask the chief a question, send us an email, send to that address. We'll save them. We go on the show. We'll read them, and he'll answer them. We've already decided that. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And I think it's something he would like to do because he feels very strongly about the town and serving the people. Serve and protect, you see that on the side of some police cars? He believes that. Thank God. Happy New Year, Chief.
Happy New Year, Ken. Good to see you.
How have you been? 2021's been bad for COVID. Has you and your family been okay?
Yes, we're getting through it. Everybody's vaccinated and doing well. And we had it back in November of last year, so we got through that. But everybody's doing well.
Good.
Thank you.
So you look great.
Thank you. So you.
You're getting better looking as you mature.
I don't know about that, but all right.
I'll
take the compliment. Thank you.
I wanted to do the show today because I wanted to find out, or let the people know, how you feel about your new headquarters.
How do we feel about the new headquarters?
Yes, it's been a long time. We did the walkthrough.
Yes, we did. And we moved in April. And I can tell you that every single member of our department is extremely grateful to the citizens of this town for providing such a fine facility. It's head and shoulders above what we were in. It is, there's really, it's hard to describe, but working in a professional facility like this compared to the facility we worked in before adds to your coming to work every day. You know, you get up in the morning and you think, I'm going to this nice place. I'm not going to the place that we went to before.
Yeah.
So I think that it's helped to improve morale. It's shown to the officers in a very viable and a very concrete way the support they have from the members of the community who spent this money, this taxpayer money, to build this facility. And we are very, very fortunate to work in such a facility. We're in for 9 months now. Just about 9 months.
Has it been 9 months? I was going to say a year.
Yep,
It hasn't been a year yet.
We went in April last year.
Okay.
We've got a big meeting with the builder and everything coming up, normal meeting coming up in January to talk about where things are. As with any project, any construction, there's been some glitches, but we're working through those. And I think it's a fine facility that will last
There's no question about
for
that.
a long, long time.
If a citizen happened to pop in and want to look around, is that permissible, or is that?
Absolutely. This is the town of Carver's building. It's the police department is fortunate enough to be housed in it, but it's the town of Carver's building, and I've tried to make it clear to anyone that wants to come by and see it that we're happy to. You know, if you come by during the day, Monday through Friday, I'm usually there and I can get you a tour. If not, somebody there will help you through it, or help you get to contact me so we can set a time up to do that.
That's very nice of you.
It is obviously it's a working police station, so it's not.
Yeah.
There may be times you come in, it's not convenient because something's going on inside that we can't do that. But we, as a police department, again, are very grateful for this building, but we recognize that this is the town of Carver's building. The residents of this town built this building with their taxpayer money, And we want to show it off. We want to show you what you spent your money on and what you got for that, because we're proud of it. A lot of hard work went into it. A lot of good ideas went into it. And I think at the end of the day, everybody that comes to see it, everybody that has come to see it has been very impressed and happy with it. And I think anybody who does come to see it would be the same, happy and impressed.
I was in the other police department that you had that's still there.
Yes.
I want to ask you some questions about that a little later on. And the police department that you got now, it's gorgeous. It's pleasant to come to work there. Is it efficient? Is it more efficient than the other one was? I saw your setup there for computers and safe deposit boxes or whatever. Is it efficient? Has it worked out for you?
Yes, it's designed as a modern police facility. The building prior, that we used prior, was a rectangle, concrete rectangle with some cells added onto it, with a very inefficient lobby and dispatch center. This building has been designed from the start by an architect with experience building 80 other police stations, by advice from the public, advice from our officers, our dispatchers, the people who work in the building. And it's designed so that we get the most out of the square footage that we build. When I talk about that, one of our dispatchers, Mike Shaw, who's our lead dispatcher, was integral in the design of the dispatch center. That's where they work. Dispatchers are in there 24/7, and when they come to their shift, they're either in there for 8 hours or 16 hours, and they can't leave. They're in that room, and they have to be there to man the phones. So it's designed with that type of an employee that's going to occupy the space in mind, and it's got the creature comforts that they need. It's got a working break area, kitchen area, bathroom area, everything within the confines of that room, so they don't have to leave the room and they can continue to do their job.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And so it's done very well. And then one of the designs that we added that's unique to the to Carver compared to other police stations is we kept the IT room where all the wires come back to and all the servers are, all the computers, is right off of that room. And we did that to take advantage of the fact that right now in our department, Mike Shaw, the lead dispatcher, does a lot of our IT work as well. So he can be in his office, so to speak, where he's a dispatcher, and still be able to work on some of the other tasks that he has to perform. So that's a very efficient use of the space, whereas other departments put that room up in the attic, and that wouldn't allow us to have him do the dual roles that he performs. So the building itself is designed around that. The booking area and the Sally Port are all designed around the safety of the officers and the prisoners that are brought in. They're designed so that they're designed to prevent an escape from a cruiser, as we used to take people out in the parking lot of town hall to bring them in. So the whole setup is designed so you can bring somebody in safely, check your firearm, get them out of the cruiser, bring them into the booking area, handle the booking functions, put them in a cell if they need be, put them in an interview room if they need to be, and process them through that in a very safe and an efficient manner for everybody involved. And it never involves the people from the booking area coming into the station proper. They're in the booking area. That's where they remain. When they're bailed out or taken to court, they go back out the same way they came in. So it separates that from the public entrance where the lobby is.
Yeah.
In the past, that wasn't true. Everybody was in the same area.
I know.
In the past, when people came in to apply for their gun license, they would have to go into the booking room because that's where we need the fingerprints and the photographs done. So they would go into the booking room and sit in the same area where somebody who was an arrested person would sit and get processed the same way an arrested person would. Now, if you were processing somebody for a gun license and an arrest came in, you got to move that person out, process the arrest first, put them in a cell. The new station's designed with a room just for processing license to carry applications. It's got the fingerprint machine and it's got the camera in it. It's got everything they need so that a citizen can come out from the lobby into that room, be processed for their license to carry, go back to the lobby, never having contact with the booking area or anything that's going on in there.
That's incredible.
So the system is designed, the building is designed to be able to perform the services we perform, whether it's arresting somebody, giving somebody a license to carry, taking a report of somebody for a crime that happened, or providing assistance. The whole building's designed so that can happen without, with respect for privacy and without contact between the two sides.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible.
I think if you recall our lobby before, somebody being in the lobby talking to an officer, somebody else would come in the lobby, they could hear what's going on. Now, we have another separate interview room right off the lobby that an officer can bring somebody in, give them privacy, talk to them, not out in the lobby in front of other people, so people's privacy is maintained when they're, they might be telling something, the worst thing that happened to them, to a police officer.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's
they're not
right.
going to be nobody's going to be comfortable doing that out in the lobby. They're in a private area they can talk about it.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I'm so glad for you guys.
Thank you. We are very, very, again, very grateful and very happy to be there. I think you noticed the training room off the front, which is the big
Yes.
glass area off the
Yes.
front there. That, in and of itself, is a huge plus to our department.
Do
Because
you use that frequently?
we do. With COVID, we haven't as much as we wanted to because there haven't been as many in-person classes, but we have held in-person classes with trainers coming in and teaching the department, the officers of the department, different skills. And it's worked fantastically. I look forward to, COVID moving past and us being able to use it
More often.
and for more things. We got some training classes coming up, I think, in January for our dispatchers that are going to use the area. We used it earlier this month we weren't able to do our normal gift collecting with Santa Claus this year, but we set it up so people could come in, leave their gifts in the training room, and not have to have any contact with anybody. So we were able to make it a COVID-safe operation using that room. So we're very, very happy. I've had a couple of chiefs meetings in there now with some of my colleagues. It's a beautiful facility, beautiful room, very well designed, and it'll last. It'll be like that for a long time.
Oh, that's great. That's so great. That's so great to hear.
Sure.
Are you, when we talked, not the last time, but a couple of times ago, you were not up to strength. Are you up to strength now? Have you got all the people you need?
Well, unfortunately, no. But we're working with the town to make a fiscally responsible plan for getting there. So it's still a long, drawn out process. We've got all the support from the public, and we've got the support of the select board. But it costs money to do that, and times are tight. So we're trying to work within the confines of the town budget, and we're not the only department in town. The town provides different services to the public, and that we fit in there too. So, but we've got good support for that, and we are moving forward, and we're hoping that we'll be doing that starting next year.
When April comes around, when you've been there a year, can we come in there with our cameras and do another?
You're welcome to come in anytime you'd like.
Well, okay.
I'll be honest with you, we're hoping at some point with COVID going away, we'll actually do a grand opening, even though it's passed, because we didn't really get to do that. We taped one with a ribbon cutting, and some people have come through. But I would like to actually do an actual grand opening that the public can come through and see it too.
Gee, that would be great.
And we'd like to have you there at that point.
Oh, that would be great.
But you're welcome to come anytime you want. We can make a video and show what we can show. There are some things in the station we're not going to show you. There's some places we're not going to go. Nobody's ever going to go into the evidence room because that's by policy. There's very limited access to that evidence room. I don't go there myself. I don't have a key myself. We only have 3 people that have key access to that room. So we won't be able to go in there, but they can see what the building is, and we're happy to show them, and I think the people will be impressed with it.
I got to tell you a quick story.
Sure.
When I was on television in Randolph, my hometown, the bank in that town was an old bank. As a matter of fact, when I was a kid in the 1st grade, I went in there with a nickel to open an account, and they opened an account for me.
Nice.
And I still have that account.
Wow, that's cool.
But they've since expanded it, rebuilt it, modernized it. And while I was in there, this is probably 20 years ago now, the bank president called me up, said, we'd like to have you do a walkthrough of our bank, our new bank. We've got a beautiful mural up on the wall that's been painted of the old town of Randolph.
Right.
And it was gorgeous. And I said, well, can I come down and talk to you? He said, yes, I was hoping you'd say that. So I did. And I said, I don't think it's a good idea. And he said, why is that? I said, it's a bank. There's some people out there that could see from television where the openings are and where the safety features are. I don't think that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And he said, I never thought of that. And I said, well, I think that way. I'm a very devious person, and I think that way. So we never did it. But we did go in there with the cameras where the tellers are, and people come in and can sit and wait
Sure.
to see each other, and we did that, and that was the end of that.
No,
But I was asked, as I often am, when they found out we were going to do a show together.
Sure.
They want to know if I could ask you a question about the accident that happened.
What was the accident?
Somebody get shot.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yep.
I'm not going to ask that question because it's an embarrassment for the guy it happened to. I happen to know him, and that's an embarrassment for the police department. And it was an accident.
Certainly.
Accidents happen. Let's not talk about that.
Well, I agree with you, and we put out a small press release because we are transparent with the public, and we believe.
Did you put out a press release?
Yeah, it's a very small one
I didn't
because we
know.
believe it's important for people to know what happened. The man that it happened to is he's doing very well. And,
Good, thank God.
We don't release any information for anybody when it involves their health, which it involves self. But what I will say is, every profession has to train to carry out their profession. Everybody, whether
Yep.
it's an electrician or a plumber,
Yep.
police officer, a firefighter,
Broadcasters?
broadcasters, everybody has to practice. And when you practice, that's where you hope you'll make your errors.
Yep.
When you're practicing to use a firearm in defense of yourself or others, you have to train in situations that you might encounter. And sometimes in practicing that, errors happen, which we're happier that when errors happen in training than when they happen in real life. We don't want errors to happen at all, but we are human beings. We are going to make
Yes, we are.
and we accept that there are going to be errors, there are going to be accidents, and we move past them, and we train through them, and we learn from them, and find out what happened. And I think sometimes we find that you've got to slow training down a bit. Sometimes training, your brain gets in that mindset, you're going, and that's when errors happen sometimes. So this is an embarrassing situation for him. I agree, and I'm sure it's very tough on him. He's doing well, but it's a learning curve for everybody involved. Him, everybody who was there that day, and all of us. That when you train for whatever it is you're training to do, accidents will happen, and you got to be prepared for that. And the good thing that came out of this training accident was the safety protocols, the immediate care that he received by the police officers who were on scene was a great training for them. It took the firearms training into a different level. Okay, now we've got a problem, and everybody that was there that day acted in immediacy and properly to get that person help.
I didn't know that. That's
some
interesting.
good comes out of every issue, every problem. You can always find some good. And while I agree it's tough on him, I think he's learned from it. I think we've all learned from it. And I think it proved that the safety protocols we have in place do work. And, it's easy for somebody to criticize and tell us, well, that should never happen. I get all that. But what they forget, and you mentioned it, this is a nice uniform, but inside this uniform is a human being. And
Yes,
inside
sir.
Every uniform
Yes,
is a human
sir.
being. And when you put human beings inside uniforms and you ask them to go out and do a job, especially a job that may require them to take, some action that has some pretty serious consequences, if you're not expecting that sometimes that might not work out perfectly, then you're not thinking correctly. And the option, if we could put robots in these uniforms, we could try that, and maybe they'd be perfect. But I can tell you that they wouldn't
Hope
bring.
that never happens.
No, I agree too. But if we could put robots in these uniforms and it made the execution of law enforcement perfect, it would also remove any empathy and compassion
Absolutely.
and all the other important things that our police officers, our human being police officers, bring to it. So there is a risk.
Let me interrupt you for a minute. I got to tell you a story that backs up everything you've just said. Again, in Randolph, we're doing a TV show there, police station, canine department. And the officer that was in charge of that was showing me different things, and we were filming it, and everything was going fine. And he said, I've saved the best for the end. I've got a dog here, and I'm all padded up, as you can see now. I said, yeah, you're pretty well padded. He said, well, I need to be, and you'll see why in a minute. This dog is a mince. I'm going to run, and he's going to let it go like I'm a criminal, and the dog is going to come after me. And I said, okay. And she says, I want you guys to film that. I said, all right, fine. I said, but you haven't got anything in your head. No, Pat, I don't need anything in my head. So we commenced. He started to run, and he ran like a bullet. Boy, he was in good shape. And they let the dog go, and the dog went after him. And instead of grabbing him on part of his body, his arms, grabbed him by the head. And all I could see from the distance was a fountain of blood coming up out of his head. And everybody went to action. The policeman came out of the department, the ambulance came, phone calls were made, blah, blah. They took him away, they put him in the ambulance, took him to the hospital. And the acting police chief, the police chief was out of town. The acting police chief came out, was a lieutenant. And he said, I want that film, that tape. I said, I'm sorry, sir, but that tape is not yours, that's mine. He said, I know it's yours, but I want the tape. And I said, I don't think, and the director was with me, much the same as Rich here. And he's come over and he said, give him the tape. I said, it's our tape. He said, I know that, you know that, he knows that, but we have to live with these police officers. If he wants the tape, he's going to get the tape if I have to wrestle you to the ground. And so we did. And I found out later, I don't know if it's true or not, but the police academy has that tape and they use it as a training tape, as you were saying,
Right.
on what not to do.
Yes.
P.S. The officer came out of the hospital fine. He's still on the force. He has a scar and no hair there, but he's okay.
Well, that's good. And you're right. We do use tape or video of things that go wrong for training purposes.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure that we try to encourage others not to make the same mistakes that are made in the past. You know?
You guys do things that I wouldn't dare to do. You know, just stopping a speeding car today is dangerous for a police officer.
Well, it's, you know, in the past year and a half, I think it's probably become even a little more dangerous. I think we've got a lot of people, well, we're fortunate here in Carver, but countrywide, it seems like we've got people who have disregarded that there are laws and that they can do what they choose to do. And I think we're going to find that that's not going to work out long term as a good, viable solution, that we might need to keep enforcing the laws that we have on the books. And maybe we need to adjust some of those laws, but we certainly do need people to enforce the laws. We can't just make it a free-for-all and trust everybody's goodwill that they won't do bad things.
That's right. You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm going to take a break here.
Okay.
And when I come back, I'm going to ask you about what's going to happen to the old police department, the old fire department.
Sure.
Know. All right?
Okay.
Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We're back. It's good to see you again. And I told you before we went on break that I was going to ask about the old police station, the old fire department.
Yes.
Yeah, what's going to happen to that? Do you know? Is there any plans for that, or
So my answer is I don't know.
you don't know?
There was some discussion with the building committee at the time about some ideas on what it could be used for. There was some pushback throughout the town that wasn't in our purview to decide, which I agree. So we're still in the process of moving some of the stuff out and getting that building cleaned out. There are a whole I've heard a bunch of different ideas from different people on what they could do with it, but it's really not our job to pick that. It's a town building.
Yeah.
We're returning it to the town, and they'll do what they choose to do with it. The building itself, the front building was built in the 50s, the back building was built in the 70s, police department was built in the 70s. So I think they'd have to take a long, hard look at what they are going to do with it.
So the police department was 50 years old.
Yes,
that building
it was built mid-70s.
And the other one's 70 years old?
Yes, that building. So when we were building the police station, one of the things that I learned with regards to building municipal buildings and mass state law is it seems to be more efficient to build a new building than it is to renovate an old building, in that when they renovate something, you don't know what problems you're going to find behind the walls. When you open everything up, the cost to do a renovation can skyrocket. So
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in this at all. That was one of the discussions that we had when we were talking about building a new police station. Should we just renovate what we have, or should we build a new building? And it was felt that you would get more value out of the dollar spent for building a new facility than you would out of renovating. So I can't. What should they renovate those buildings into something else? I don't know. I don't have that expertise.
I would.
But
Somebody asked me that question, I
Sure.
would say, tear them down and
yeah,
build
no,
something else.
and the town should make an honest decision on that based on real facts of what they think what do they want to put there, and what would it cost to do that.
I'm fascinated by the fact that the fire department and the police department are across from each other, I think that's great.
And I think if you recall the discussion, there was a lot of discussion about putting the police station there, whether it was the right place to
Oh,
put it,
yes, I remember that.
moving the playground, and whether that was going to be the best decision. And I hope that the public can now completely visualize why that's so important. The two public safety facilities in this, three, are all in the same campus. EMS is just over near Town Hall, but now the police and fire are right across from each other. They are connected by a microwave link. They're connected by a fiber loop that goes under the road.
Oh, I didn't know
so
that.
the two dispatch centers can operate simultaneously together in a big situation. So
I didn't know. That's a great idea.
So in a hurricane or snowstorm, they can both work. We have evacuation programs for both sides. So if, God forbid, one building caught on fire, the other one, we can just move dispatch over to the other building and continue to operate. So the redundancy that's built into the taking advantage of the geographical area where we built both stations.
I didn't know that, Chief. I think that's great.
Right, is a key point that I don't think a lot of the public understands. So not just are they.
Was that police department put there with that in mind at the time?
That was one of the considerations that we as the building committee took into deciding.
Did the public know that?
Yes, we did talk about it, but the problem was it kind of got pushed to the back burner based on some of the other concerns.
Because one of the people that was very upset over the playground being destroyed, he's come to me a few months ago, whatever, and she said I was wrong. The police department belongs right where it is.
I'm glad to hear that. It was that the effort to put it where it was based on what I felt and what the building committee felt at the time was the right location. We made some errors in probably how we expressed that to the public or how we brought that forth. I'm not sure, but it caused some consternation with the public, and I don't like that. I wanted to.
Yeah, of course.
I would like to have the public trust us and believe us.
Absolutely,
and move forward.
absolutely.
And I think we worked through that. The building is now there, and I'm glad to hear that people are recognizing that it was the right decision. Sometimes, especially when you're moving something that people hold dear for a different purpose, the playground, so to speak, I think that can cloud the issue a little, and understand it so. We're all people. Everybody has an opinion. But I think now that it's all done, the new playground is built. We've tied the two stations together. Our station is open 24 hours a day, so that if somebody, as they have, pulled into the fire station at night looking for medical help, when they realize it's not there, it's almost natural to look across. You're going to see across the street this other building lit up that says police department. And I think we're centrally located in the middle of town. We have easy access to both the schools, which was very important in this in this decision. The access to the high school is even quicker now than it would be before, because before we had to come out, go down 58 to South Meadow Road. Now we just go Center Street to Pond, and we're there. And the access to the elementary school, we're closer to the elementary
That's
school.
right. I never thought of that.
So the geographic location of the station, while I'll agree that you can put a police station anywhere, I think when you're spending that much money, you want to put it in the right place at the right time. And I think that now that we can see it, now that people can visualize it, they see what it came out to be. I think it's easier to understand that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
hope it is. And I'm elated to hear that somebody mentioned to you that.
Yeah, she was kind of funny about it. I think she thought that I was going to scold her.
Yeah.
I said, look, I broadcast what I hear, what I see. And I have no real opinion. I do have an opinion about the police department and the fire department, as you well know. I'm going to tell you a quick story. About a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, whenever, it doesn't make any difference, I had a blowout on Route 58. And, of course, I had to pull over to the side of the road. I don't think it was 2 minutes when one of your officers was there. And they know me. Ken, what's going on? And I told them, I said, another cruiser came down, and they took care of me. They told me who to call. There's a towing company here in Carver I didn't know about that has an affiliation with the police department.
We have Major Impact Tows in town, and then
Yeah.
McCarthy's also.
And told to call them. They said, it's going to cost you. We have no control over that. I said, I don't care. I just want to get out of this.
Sure.
And but I was so impressed about the way they took care of me. And when you get to stop for speeding, treat these guys nice, will you? I know that you're upset because you're a man or you're a woman and you don't want to get stopped for speeding. You don't want to get caught doing something wrong. These guys got a job to do and they do it in a graceful manner if you'll allow them to. Okay, let's see if I got anything. Is there anything you'd like to say to the people while you got them on the air?
The topic of this, our discussion is mostly focused on the police station, and I just, I want to say again, thank you very much for the home that we are in now, that we have the opportunity to use the building that the taxpayers of the town built for us. Is fantastic. We're very, very appreciative of it, and I do believe that it has increased our morale and does make it more efficient and more proper and more professional police department serving the community. So I think the building itself does not protect the community, but it houses the men and women that do, and we're grateful for it.
Gives them a decent place to work in.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're very grateful for that.
I want to remind you one more time that on the bottom of the screen, you'll see our email address. You got a question you'd like to ask the chief for our next meeting, which probably won't be for 4, 5, 6 months, somewhere's down there, unless he requests a meeting. But that'll be unusual. Ask a question, send it the email, we'll pile them up here, and when we next meet with the chief, we'll ask him those questions.
Well, and we're always happy to answer any questions that anybody has. So if the question can't wait, give me a call at the station. I'll be happy to answer it. Or the second Tuesday every month, at 10:30, I go to the Council on Aging and do coffee with the chief. So
You still do coffee with the chief?
So I'm down there. If you have any questions, you want to come, if you don't feel like coming to the station to ask me, you can come down there and ask me. But we're
Is that okay?
Absolutely, of course.
I think that's remarkable. I think that's remarkable that you can devote that kind of time. That's great.
Well, I look at it as you're paying us to be available to you to answer your questions, and if we're not, then we're not doing our job.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of the chiefs around that I've interviewed don't feel that way. But that's another show. That's another story. That's something else. We've got Chief Mark Dufley, thank God, and we've got Craig at the fire department, and we've got the two best fire departments in the country, in my opinion. And how do I know that? I've been to every one of them. No, I haven't. I'm only lying. Okay, I want to thank Chief Dufley for being here today. I'm looking forward to our next meeting. Thank you very much for tuning in, watching. Love you, know that. Until the next time, keep the song in your heart. I'll be talking to you later.